I found a deal that was way too good for me to pass on, so let's go get it. So here it is, the rigid 10-inch sliding compound miter saw, the R4241, as it says here on the box. Now I know what you're thinking, this is sort of a weird choice in miter saw, but let me explain. Now if you've been following the channel for any length of time, you're probably wondering yourself, Sam, you already have a miter saw, you have this DeWalt 12-inch slider saw. Well, there's a couple of problems. One, this saw isn't actually mine, I just sort of have held it captive for the last year. It's my buddy's dad's, and he hasn't really asked for it back, so it's just kind of stayed here in the interim. But my big problem with these big sliders is you need about 3 feet from the wall. I mean, from here to here. Let's grab a tape. Now I could slide it back to the wall maybe another inch or two, but you're looking at easily 4.5 feet from the wall in order for this saw to have its full functionality. So I've been on the quest to find a saw that goes up against the wall, and there's only a handful of ones on the market that do that. The one that most people are probably familiar with is the Festool Capex. That one is a slider on rails, but the way it's designed with the rails on the side of the saw, it doesn't use as much space, so you can put it flat against a wall. It's really designed for like job site work, but that saw is almost $2,000. There's other options like Bosch makes a glide, something glide, one that uses a similar design to this one that we have here, but is also really expensive, and the dust collection of it is terrible, and it's also a big saw. Makita makes one that's very similar to the Capex, where it has the slider on the side and kind of in the front. Also a great option, but that saw is about 800 bucks. So the rigid saw comes in with all of the features that I was looking for at a lot lower of a price point. I don't have any word on whether the dust collection on this sucks, but it's a lot cheaper than any of the other options. And from what I've read, the reviews are pretty okay. I had been back and forth on the 10 or the 12-inch version of this saw, and I was sort of open to either, and as I kind of had been keeping an eye on the deal, sometimes if there was a sale, the 12-inch one was better, sometimes the 10-inch one was better on the price. It just kind of depended. I don't personally have too strong of an opinion one way or the other. I think a 10-inch one will get me through most of what I need to do. If I need to do something the 10-inch saw can't handle, I'll just find another way to do it. So why did I get all excited and run down to the store and buy this thing today? Well, I was thinking about the miter saw setup in the shop and how much space this other one takes up, and I went on the Home Depot website today because I'd been kind of waiting because I could have ordered this online months ago, but I kind of wanted to just get one in the store for some reason. I didn't really want to have to deal with like shipping this giant thing. So I'm stumbling around on the website looking at stuff today, and it says that there was one in stock at the store up the street from me for $400 and something. I go ahead and I put it in the cart, seeing that I'm able to pick it up today in the store, which is great. I can just run up and grab it. And then all of a sudden I realized that it's down to $232. I've never seen it that price. I don't know if it's because it's Memorial Day weekend, or if maybe this is getting outdated and replaced, or maybe it was just an overstock or something. I don't really even know why there was one there, but by some divine intervention, it seems, I got the deal of a lifetime on this saw. So for basically half off and fits all the criteria, we're gonna live with the 10-inch version, and this is gonna be perfect for the miter saw station that we built. All of that to say, I think it's time that we crack this thing open and see what it's all about. Comes with a dust bag, some like side handle things that I'll probably never put on it. I gotta read to see what that's about. It comes with the clamp thing that, you know, most people never use, but it's there. It's a thing. It feels relatively sturdy. There's a lot of metal on it. It's got 2 of these arms that create the gliding motion, so the whole thing is only like absolute back to front is only 30 inches. So if you put it on a 24-inch counter, you're only getting a few inches of overhang here with the front handle. And once you swing it over into an angle, it's almost certainly not in the way. It's a little bit smaller. I'm not gonna be like delusional here. There is a little bit of play if you really like hang on, you know, pushing or pulling on the thing. That's just sort of a inherent downfall of this style of saw. I don't see myself doing anything with crazy precision on this thing. Mostly just cutting like 2x4s, rough cutting lumber, any sort of like precision crosscut. Really, you're gonna wanna use the table saw anyway. But I still like having a miter saw in the shop, especially like set up and ready to go just for making quick cuts on small materials. I'm super excited to give this thing a try, especially for only $230. I mean, even if it's not that great of a saw, I can't really even be mad at it. One thing that I'm finding kind of interesting is it's only a 2-prong plug. I guess being the littler saw, it doesn't really need it or whatever. I don't really know. I'm not an electrical magician. One feature that I'm really excited about is it uses an LED light to show you where your blade is. It shines a light over the blade, leaving a shadow line exactly where the blade is. I think this feature is a lot better than the lasers because the laser does have the opportunity to come out of alignment. With this, because it's the blade shadow making the line, it's impossible for it to be out of alignment. You get a better precision every time. Plus it also works as a light to kind of see where you're lining things up. The only thing that I don't really know what it does yet is this little flippity doodah. I had the camera off for a while. I was just kind of sweeping and decluttering. Took down the old miter saw, kind of blew that out. That'll be heading back to its proper home here soon. Now I'm kind of thinking about layout. I've got this long wall and I think it makes the most sense to build some kind of miter saw station here along this wall. It's just a matter of where. Do I put it right in the center? Do I put it down this end or do I put it down that end? The front corner is kind of like my lawn and garden section. I have rakes, shovels, implements of destruction, lawnmower. So maybe there's some sort of a workbench storage cabinet that goes down there for a lot of that stuff. And I don't want to be too close to that because if you got a long piece, you don't want it to necessarily be too long. I'd like to be able to cut probably like 6 feet off of one side. Typically I'm cutting off the piece I want to the left, and I don't see myself really ever cutting more than like 6 feet to that side, and if I have kind of 8 feet to the other side. And I could build in anything else that's on this wall. If I have a drill press or something, I can set the heights so that stuff can go over it. A lot of people will get like a pocket hole foreman and build that into it or set it at the same height. So that's maybe something we can do down the road if we get into more pocket hole kind of construction. It may end up kind of in the center, to be honest, but I'd love to hear your thoughts. I also would love to know if you think this is a good purchase, a weird purchase. If you have this saw or the bigger one, let me know what you think of it long term. I will definitely be testing it out and reporting back long term on what we think about it. I'm gonna call the video there. I have to think about this a little bit more. I'd love to hear your input on thoughts around a miter saw station and what we might include. I'm kind of leaning towards something on the quick and dirty side, just out of materials I already have, to at least get us up and running and then potentially upgrading it down the line. Another thought that I had was to find some old kitchen cabinet lowers off of Facebook or something and retrofit those. Also an option, or we could go big and just build the whole thing. Maybe I could get the plans for John's old miter saw station that we built back in the day. Lots of options there. Let's chat about stuff down below, and I will catch you guys on the next one.